What's up, beautiful people, and welcome back to the Pretty Purposeful Podcast. I'm your host, Angie Gonzalez. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy 2024. You guys, we made it. Man, we left 2023 on, all the things that came out in 2023, the last quarter, Cassie Diddy situation, and, a few other Hollywood actors coming out and speaking about the way that people have treated them, how they've been silenced, and afraid to speak up for fear of being blackballed. It just got me to thinking, in 2024, we need more substance because we have all this aesthetic online, these appearances, and everything on the surface looks perfect. But beneath all of that, there are many people that are being hurt, used, abused, and those things have a trickle effect. When people are silenced, come on now, we are having a mental health crisis right now. In this country, not even the country, in this world, just because the internet connects us all and we all are impacted by world events, the global economy, local economy, politics, especially Hollywood, to find out that behind the scenes they have been, predatory, abusive, is very disheartening. But I learned that just being connected to people in Hollywood is enough for you to see some things. And I'm always grateful for that experience because it woke me up. That's neither here nor there, at least on this episode. But I hope that you all are having a great new year so far. And also, I wanted to say, this podcast is going to be about purpose. What kind of platform would this be if I didn't take the time to talk about purpose? A purpose to me it's almost like a roadmap. It's that one thing that when you veer off because maybe you're consumed with something like the internet or consumed with a person or a hobby or a job, or if you just drift off, having a purpose is that one thing that you can recenter yourself with, just a sense of fulfillment in life. And as a believer myself, I know that, I was given a lot of natural gifts by my Creator. And because of that, I feel that there was purpose behind that. And I've seen what me using those gifts can do in my life and the lives of others. I'm committed to using those gifts and becoming more efficient at using those gifts. With that being said, let's get into this episode. In today's world, where digital marketing and social media reign supreme, the allure of aesthetics is more captivating than ever. When you scroll down your social media feed, every ad, every influencer seems to be all telling us the same thing and live a perfect life. But let's pause for a minute. As we step into the new year, it's crucial that we stop and ask ourselves, is our obsession with this aesthetic obscuring the depth and authenticity of what really matters in life? From the flawless selfies to the impeccably designed homes, these images are beautiful, but life is not a curated Instagram feed. It is very messy, very unpredictable, and most importantly, it's very real. In our pursuit of purpose over perfection, we need to reevaluate the role aesthetics play in our lives. What are we really chasing? Is it the joy of living a life true to ourselves, or is it just the approval and envy of others? I've always had this theory And to be honest, it's one of my quotes. I actually have it on the back of my preserved hoodie, and it says, "On purpose, with purpose, for a greater purpose." And I've come to know that really there isn't anything in life that we can do that is without purpose. When you really think about it, you wake up in the morning, wash your face, you brush your teeth, you do it with a purpose. You don't want to go out the house with funky breath. You don't want to go out the house with crust in your eyes. When you eat with purpose. Whether that purpose is to be healthy or you just fulfilling a craving, it still has a purpose. Even when you go to sleep at night, that was the one thing that I said, hey, if there's nothing that I had to have purpose in, it's going to sleep at night. And that's not even true, because how you sleep, where you sleep, how long you sleep, there's purpose behind all of it. You can't even go to sleep without having purpose. Very superficial world that we're living in. We really have to remember to hone in on substance. So what does that look like for us? That means that we have to be committed to being more real, more authentic, and more purpose-driven. Because at the end of the day, y'all, it's what leaves a lasting impact. Let's challenge ourselves. Let's not just make purpose a theme for this year. Girl, you heard about that new clothing line called Diversity Drip? No, girl, what's that? Girl, it is all about celebrating our unique mix. They have stylish clothing, accessories, they even have stuff for your car. I know you lying. Oh, for real. Go to diversitydrip.com right now. I'm telling you, you're gonna love what you see. They got that drip. They got that drip. They got that drip. Diversity Drip Apparel, where your style tells your story. I have an issue with perfectionism. Like my whole life, I just always felt like it was part of the creative process. And I would hear over and over, perfectionism is not good. It's not a good thing. Why are you such a perfectionist? And at the end of the day, it was in that moment, my focus was on, oh, this has to be perfect. It has to be right. But then when I start really focusing on purpose, that's when I started to realize that it's the purpose that keeps me doing that thing. So that's what I need to focus on in those moments of uncertainty, because that's really, at the core of perfectionism. It's fear of not being good enough. How many times have you found yourself obsessing over every little detail? Work, relationships, daily routines. Trying to be perfect can be very exhausting. It's like trying to chase something that's always out of your reach. And in that chase, we risk losing substance, because it's no longer about what we're putting into that thing. It's all about what we're getting out of it. So I wanted to take a better look into the emotional and mental toll of perfectionism. Perfectionism, it shows up a lot as self-criticism. It shows up as fear, and there's always like this sense of not being good enough. But, that type of mindset can lead somebody to anxiety, burnout. But how does this type of mindset affect our lives, our relationships, our personal growth? Well, imagine the strain that it puts on relationships when we hold not just ourselves, but those around us to those impossible standards. I'm guilty of it. I work in leadership, and so in my professional roles, my objective has been to lead others, to guide others, to develop others in their professional careers. And just because I may be passionate about personal and professional development, I had to learn to meet people where they were and not put the same expectations or high standards on them that I put on myself. When you do that to other people, it definitely can create tension, misunderstandings, and it can make them feel like they're not good enough. That can actually result in the opposite of what you were trying to accomplish. So the fear of making mistakes, it not only can give you paralysis and make you stop, it also can stunt your growth. It just means that we recognize that no one is perfect, and any mistakes that we make are part of the journey. As I've gotten older, it definitely just made me appreciate the beauty in the unfinished parts of myself. It gives me something to look forward to. Not like I'm a project, but like I'm a work in progress. really one thing to realize the downsides of perfectionism without realizing what your why is. See, as I mentioned previously, what would get me out of a rut whenever I would find myself being a perfectionist is realizing what the purpose was for whatever it was that I was doing. So, that's your why. That's your purpose. Among all the noise that we have in our everyday life, our sense of purpose can sometimes get lost. Once you define that purpose, it then becomes all about aligning your actions, choices, and your paths to your purpose, which ultimately is your most authentic self and that thing that you were put here on earth to do. So why is having a clear sense of purpose so crucial? Well, purpose is like a compass. As I mentioned before, it's like a roadmap, and it gives you a sense of meaning. See, when your actions are driven by purpose, it becomes more powerful, more impactful. It can anchor you. It helps you not to be swayed by the superficial. And trust me, with everything going on in Hollywood, and Hollywood is so influential on society, and society is so influential on our family and our children. Yeah, it's so important to be clear on what your purpose is. So throughout 2024, I definitely want to spend some time highlighting some inspiring stories of personal transformation, including my own. And, these stories about purpose, they're not just narratives. They're actual testaments to the power of having purpose. I always say, my podcast is not a Christian or faith-based podcast, but it really is. I don't really want to be stuck in a box, in a genre, but let me just be clear. All of my actions, my purpose, knowing that I even have a purpose, comes from my faith in God. I want to use my testimony to inspire someone, to encourage someone. This year, I really want to get into some practical steps towards purposeful living. It's about moving beyond just understanding our why to actively incorporating it into our daily lives. Now, again, I'm not perfect. And again, the mantra is not about being perfect. It is about purpose over perfection. So you're going to make some mistakes. There are going to be some things that you look back on this year and say, I wish I would have, I wish I could have. But I'm here to tell you right now, don't spend too much time on it. Because again, that thing, that purpose is your reason. Keep moving forward. I really want to emphasize the importance of creating a life that is not just successful by external standards, but one that is genuinely fulfilling and meaningful. So I encourage everybody to be courageous, because at the end of the day, y'all, it's really not about just doing things right. It's about doing the right things. Being stylish is all about embracing your unique self, and Lala's Closet is here to help you do just that. Visit lalasclosetatl.com and check out the fantastic finds they have waiting for you. Welcome back, beautiful people. In this segment, we're going to turn our attention to substance. It's so easy to get caught up in the visual appeal and the aesthetics of things. But at the heart of everything, what truly matters and what truly resonates is substance. Content with substance is so important these days. Just today I was scrolling down my Instagram feed, and there's some really popular influencers and celebrities that I've been following for years. And not to be judgmental, but if their content on today in this new year, 2024, was not resonating with my spirit, if it just felt like it was superficial, I just immediately unfollowed them. I'm pretty sure I'll see them pop up somewhere else, but they won't be popping up on my timeline every day. How can we infuse more substance in every aspect of our lives, in our relationships? It's been my goal now for some time to connect with other artists who want to make meaningful, impactful music. And I'm on that mission right now. I'm very hopeful that I will be able to put out a project that is going to be meaningful and is going to impact people in a powerful way. And not that there's anything wrong with music that just makes you feel good or make you want to dance. But at the end of the day, y'all, we have to be more accountable of the content we're consuming, no matter what the medium. Let's say I'm watching a movie and this movie is very violent. Now, if I'm watching this movie to glamorize what's going on in the movie, then that would be my purpose. Doesn't mean it's a good purpose, doesn't mean it's my purpose. But on the other hand, I could be watching that movie with the purpose of learning more about a culture, learning more about a certain, dynamic that I'm unfamiliar with. We're living in a day where everybody is fighting to be seen and heard, myself included. I talk about this a lot on my platform, but being mixed race, it's a complex situation. It's a complex life. That's not to take anything away from anyone else who knows what it feels like to be marginalized or to not be recognized or acknowledged. There are often stereotypes that come with people of mixed race like myself, and a lot of times I find that people focus more on my external beauty than my internal beauty. So that's why I've been very intentional about not focusing so much on what I look like when I'm online. I want to show up flaws and all. I want people to see that I'm not perfect. My physical appearance is not my power. It's really difficult to have substance if you don't really know who you are. For me, I've really enjoyed the journey of getting to know who I am. Sometimes you have to silence the noise. You have to, separate yourself from people who are not aligned, who are not heading where you're heading. And it was not easy to do, but when I did and I felt the freedom of being able to take my time, go at my own pace, and I eliminated a lot of unnecessary pressures. When you have the wrong people around you, you will find yourself explaining yourself over and over and over again. This year, just pay attention. Who are those people in your life that you find yourself constantly trying to get to understand where you're coming from, see your vision? Stop sharing your vision with them. Redirect your focus back on you. The moment you do that, you are being true to yourself. And that's what is so important. You can't be purpose driven and you can't live a life of purpose if you're not true to yourself. More than ever, it's so important that we as individuals celebrate our unique voices, our unique journeys to show the world who we really are. I just recently participated in a trend and, don't get me wrong, the trend was trending and I found that it was a good opportunity for me to get a message out to raise awareness. But again, even that is an example of me being purposeful and being authentic. Might be corny, but it was purposeful. You will create meaningful connections and you will build communities that resonate with your most genuine self. One of the most powerful aspects of authenticity is being vulnerable. It's about opening up, sharing your real stories, your struggles, and your triumphs. I remember, growing up, I always felt like I couldn't speak about my experiences or people would think that I was conceited. And I just had to remember, no, that's not my narrative. That's not my truth. That's what they're projecting onto me. And it's definitely something that can silence people who has had their light dimmed because somebody else was afraid of that authenticity connecting genuinely and knowing that that type of connection is way more sustainable than the superficial. That type of appeal is not sustainable. And so that's why I've just been we hear different quotes like quality over quantity. And there's the one saying about, rather having 4 quarters than having 100 pennies. Y'all, it is so true. Look around. Popular, I used to have a saying, purpose over popularity, and that's still one of my mantras. But I think that purpose over perfection, to me, supersedes it because people who are trying to be popular and they don't have any purpose other than being popular, they typically are trying to look perfect. But a lot of times there's so many things going wrong on the inside. So I'd rather be imperfect but have most of my shit together than be out here looking perfect and have everything wrong inside. Authenticity, it resonates. It speaks to people on a very fundamental level. When we're true to ourselves, we start to attract like-minded people who share the same values, passions, perspectives. It's not just about building an audience or following. For me, it's about creating a community that's built on trust, respect, and a genuine connection. So, to all of my beautiful listeners out there, I want to make a collective commitment this year that we do our best to rise above the societal pressures that we see online, to conform, to fit in, and to be something that we're not. There's a movement happening right now. There's a shift. And I'm so happy and thankful to be part of that movement. And there's people out there who are with their own platforms that are doing the same thing. And our consistency in being who we are, I am so confident that our paths will cross one another. And when they do, it is going to be a powerful movement. A lot of great things are going to happen. It really does create a ripple effect. When you boldly and proudly embrace who you are, you encourage other people to do the same. Even some of the people that you see that are popular, some of them might be popular, but they're not really bold. I don't know what it is, but maybe they don't have confidence in themselves. Perhaps they can gain some value from this content if they would just take a moment and listen. That person might be you. It takes a certain kind of person, a person who knows themselves, a person who knows their purpose, a person that knows that they have value to give, to be able to stand up to all the opinions, to not let the opinions stop them, to know that their purpose has more meaning than believing someone's opinion about them. Now, my goal with this podcast, with my music, with my advocacy efforts is to create a ripple effect. Speak your truth. Are you a beacon of inspiration? Have you turned adversity into triumph? If you have knowledge that empowers, ideas that challenge, and wisdom that enlightens, I'd love to have you as a guest on my podcast. This podcast is more than just a show. It's a movement. It's about bridging gaps, uplifting spirits, and creating a community of empowered individuals. So if you're ready to share your story or expertise with the world, we're ready to hear it. Visit www.angiegonzalez.com/podcast. That's ANGEEGONZALEZ/podcast. Be a part of something special. The Pretty Purposeful Podcast, where stories of resilience meet voices of change. As we bring this episode to a close, I just want to say thank you all for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. And I just want to remind you all that, as you go through this new year, your voice, your story, and your experiences, those are your superpowers. Celebrate them. Share them with the world. It's through these authentic expressions, y'all, that we find our true purpose. Nobody can take that from you. 2024 is definitely going to be a year of shattering illusions. Not everybody's going to be happy. Live out their true purpose. I hope there was something from today's episode that you can take away, that you can share with someone. If you've enjoyed this episode, please be sure to share it. Please be sure to subscribe. I greatly appreciate your support. Remember, y'all, purpose over perfection. That's the mantra for 2024. Choosing authenticity and purpose is a revolutionary act. You have the power to make this year extraordinary, not just for yourself, but for those around you. And you guys, last year was a really tough year for me. So I'm really looking forward to what 2024 has in store. I'm really thankful that I'm able to do more podcasting and putting more content out there. And, some of the things that helped me back in 2023 was wanting my content to be perfect. And, I just had to remind myself, especially towards the end of the year, that I have a lot of value to offer and I can't keep hoarding it because it's not quote unquote perfect. That's my ego talking. And so this year, I'm sorry, ego, you got to go. No, serious, y'all. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this. As I always say, if you're going to do anything, make sure you do it on purpose, with purpose, for a greater purpose. Until next time, y'all, stay true, stay purposeful, and keep shining.